Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the MLG studios here in New York City. You're watching the winter season showdowns, where pretty much every single day we have a best of 5 between between a lot of the best players in the world. Of course, we're covering the European scene right now. We got a few matches, of course, trying to determine who gets that spot in Dallas. And of course, Thorzain versus Socke is right now. Mana versus Bly was yesterday. If you want more information on that, majorleaguegaming.com. YouTube.com/officialMLGSE2 is your source. If you missed anything, it's available there in full 1080p HD. Also, quick reminder, guys, be sure to get involved with the community. Go on Team Liquid, go on Reddit, participate in the conversations regarding the series, regarding this matchup. Who's going to win, Thorzain or Socke? Lay down your predictions, support your team, support your favorite players, and again, get involved and tell your friends this is going on, because this is amazing Heart of the Swarm stuff, the best play we're going to see around right now.
I'm really excited to see this game too. I mean, I've been playing a lot of Terran Heart of the Swarm, and I haven't really lost the Protoss yet, but I'm really like Socke is the guy who's gonna show us how it's done.
Hopefully,
and then I can see what I should be worried about as I, keep playing.
Of course, Socke going for a little bit of a risky strategy in game 1, taking a risk. It didn't pay off, and Thorzain able to convert that into victory. Let's go ahead and get into game number 2. Of course, first to 3 wins is the thing here. Of course, you get 3 wins. This is a best of 5. You get that spot in Dallas. A lot on the line here. These guys have probably been practicing Heart of the Swarm a lot for this match, and that was a build from Socke that I felt like, you know what? He looked at this matchup. He looked at his opponent. He's like, okay, I'm going to start planning what builds I'm going to do every single game. Game 1, Acheron Waste. This is a good map for Stargate. I'm going to go for it. Of course, it didn't work out, but that's why it's a best of 5. So I'm really excited to see what Socke does here. Of course, let's introduce the players in the bottom left-hand location. We have the Blue Terran player from Team Evil Geniuses. He is 2 wins away from qualifying for Dallas. He is Thorzain. Of course, his opponent is in the top right-hand location. He's the Red Protoss player. Team Alternate Attacks. He is Socke. He's got some work to do. Down 1-0, but again, Socke's a guy who can definitely make up that ground. But then again, he is playing against the King in the North. Is that what they call him?
That is exactly
I finally get that
what they
reference now. I just started watching Game of Thrones, and I had no idea what people
party,
were talking about. I had
You're
no
late to the
idea
party.
when Thorzain was doing all his stuff, but now I understand, so I feel part of the cool club now. Nice.
The last game looked pretty one-sided, but it also all comes down to that opening. I mean, Thorzain just perfectly parried Socke's opening there. Yeah. I'm interested to see, is Socke going to try to keep doing something similar, or is he going to take a step back and say, you know what, if I mine with 6 probes from each gas, and actually what Thorzain can do there is, because there's a lot of tricky builds Protoss do where they take 2 gases and mine from 4 from each, just to get that Stalker and Mothership core out very fast. And that would be of course you would need a missile to reverse that, but what Thorzain does is he looks at how much gas has been mined, right? And there's no way a Protoss can hide a tech build from an intelligent Terran like Thorzain. So, given that fact, and given that Thorzain obviously knows how to deal with these type of tech builds, exact Nexus first. I'm about to say, is Socke going to mix it up? I love what I'm seeing here. Nexus first is a perfect kind of follow-up to, game 1. You kind of, even if it didn't work, they gotta be aware that you can throw some crazy stuff out early. So game 2, you're like, okay, he's gonna be worried about that. He'll, probably just sit back and make sure he doesn't die early, and I can go ahead and macro up really aggressively as an opening.
A lot of this is identifying your opponent's playstyle and what they're likely to do. Of course, Socke was able to identify that Thorzain went for that very fast command center in game number 1. It's Daybreak. He's making some guesses here. Okay, my opponent is probably going to do something similar. If not, I'm going to have to do a heroic defense, but I'm just going to go for that Nexus expand, or that very fast Nexus, and kind of play to my opponent. So it looks like Socke does want to go to a later game. Of course, game 1, that logic kind of applies as well. Maybe he's like, okay, Thorzain, this is a pretty long rush distance map. He's probably going to do some sort of command center, fast command center build. Something very good against that is the Stargate play. Now, if Thorzain hadn't had an engineering bay, that could have gone horribly wrong for him. So it's not like Socke's build was bad. Thorzain just had a great reaction to what he scouted. So very interesting starts here for both of these 2 players. Socke identifying that fast command center from his opponent, and Thorzain getting a bunker started just outside of his opponent's Nexus, but the worker got lazy and decided he did not want to finish. And there's the cancel from Thorzain.
The worker got radioed in saying there's probably a Stalker heading out here.
Yep.
Time to get out quickly.
Back to base. He's going to.
Yep. Very intelligent choice there by Thorzain, of course. you know, just the bunker, it's like, well, if you see that they're not getting to STARCRAFT early, they're maybe trying to do something weird, then you get the bunker up, and it's a real pain for the press to deal with it. And what was the cost, right? The SCV was out there already anyway for the scouting. It's only 25 minerals. Yeah, not a big deal.
I'm okay with that move.
You know, one thing Thorzain always did in Wings of Liberty, and he's still doing in Heart of Storm, is he loves his 2 barracks double add-on opening. And it's very vulnerable to things like 5 or 6 gates, but what it does allow him to do is it allows him to really tech up very fast. It saves him some minerals because he's only getting 2 barracks instead of 3, and he can direct those minerals into faster E-base, faster tech. Although actually here, a 3rd barracks being added on, Reaper and Stimpak. He might be opting for a little bit of a aggressive follow-up here, and Socke is going for a very fast 3rd Nexus.
I honestly really like this move from Socke. I mean, knowing Thorzain, knowing his build, and then considering his options in Heart of the Swarm, he has that Mothership Core. That's such a big utility when defending against these pushes from the Terran player. Photon Overcharge on the Nexus, that could save your life. And what's really important about this play here from Socke right now is his Stalker positioning. One Stalker is at the Watchtower. He's going to watch out for any scouting Marines, any scouting SCVs, any scouting Reapers in the middle of the map there. Of course, there's another alternate path into that 3rd base that you don't want to get scouted. Of course, Socke put his Stalker there as well. So I'm interested to see what Socke kind of does to kind of scare Thorzain a little bit, because you don't want the Terran player to know you're doing this fast 3 Nexus play, because then they're more likely to be aggressive. You want to try to scare the Terran player, try to make him think that you're still on 2 base, that you're investing a lot into tech, and feinting aggression can be a good way to do that. But so we'll have to see what Socke does from here.
One of the old school combo follow-ups was, of course, that 8-gate follow-up, but now with that Mothership Core and its extra defensive ability, I think Protosses can do a lot more tech behind its fast 3rd Nexus than it used to be able to do. We see Socke taking advantage of that right now, going Twilight and Forge off of 3 gateways, saying, you know what? If he tries to come and do damage, oh, is Reaper going to get the scouting in?
He's going to scout it.
He is, and this is the utility of that new Reaper. It is so fast, regenerates.
Look at it go.
Very, very good at scouting. Is it going to be taken out here? No, it's going to go straight to the main.
Yeah, it's going to go into the main, but then it's going to die. I don't, if it can jump over this.
But look at everything it's seen. It saw 3 Nexuses. It saw that there's no 8-gate follow-up, which is one of the most common follow-ups. This is just actually a wonderful scout for Thorzain. I mean, and you know what this Reaper did before it came here? It scouted all around Thorzain's side of the map to make sure there was no proxy pylons. So this Reaper did the job of like 6 scans. All around his own base of proxy pylons, the 3rd base, all the tech information. I mean, I couldn't imagine a more cost-efficient. Actually, I think we saw him before in last versus Sulky. There were some really cost-efficient Reapers, but
yeah,
for scouting purposes only, that was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, Thorzain is going to react by pushing out immediately. Medevacs in production, I don't see any. Okay, the starport just now moving over to that reactor. +1 weapons is about to finish. Concussive shells and combat shields about halfway complete. So I would expect him to wait for those 2 medevacs, but the question is, will Socke be able to handle this push? Blink is about to finish, +1 armor is about to finish, adding on 2 additional gateways here. He has a Mothership Core available to lay down a Photon Overcharge onto that Nexus. I think if Socke controls this properly, he should be alright, but we'll have to see where Thorzain decides to engage.
I don't think Socke will have really any significant problems here. Blink will allow him to pick off the medevacs. Force fields, Photon Overcharge can wear down a Terran army as it stims. He's got so many warping abilities. He's adding in all these cannons here as well.
Yeah.
He's really put Thorzain on a heavy 2-base aggression build, which is exactly what Thorzain's doing, and he's reacting perfectly.
And there's no 3rd command center behind this for Thorzain. He kind of has to get damage done. What does damage constitute? Killing a couple probes, killing a Nexus, killing some units. I think he has to kill a Nexus here and at least dive into a little bit of the economy of Socke. But Thorzain coming forward, Photon Overcharge going immediately onto the Nexus. There is the force field from Socke. He has the ability to blink back to weaken Stalkers. There's the Ignite Afterburn, just pulling some weakened Marines and Marauders out of there. And there's a Time Warp from the Mothership Core. I think Socke is just fine.
Absolutely fine. Some great blink macro going down as well, preserving the Stalkers for life as long as possible. The 3 cannons helped out tremendously. The Photon Overcharge, Socke just absolutely destroyed that.
Demolished
and now
it.
He's going to run down any units that are trying to retreat here. Thorzain's just now starting a 3rd command center, but he's going to be behind in upgrades, economy, army size, every single aspect of the game.
Socke going to try to engage with these Blink Stalkers. Losing one of them, doesn't want to lose any now that he has Blink here. Just wants the shields to go down. But
fancy footwork by Thorzain here with the medevac. Look at that.
Yeah, look at all the Stalkers falling there. Not sure if I agree with that decision there from Socke. let's just think about that last engagement there from Thorzain. Let's imagine if this was Wings of Liberty. I don't know if Socke holds that, but because of those new tools that Protoss has, Photon Overcharge onto the Nexus, Time Warp onto those units, I think that was very instrumental in Socke's hold of that push. Thorzain, realizing he might have to adjust a little bit to these new Heart of the Swarm utilities if he wants to make a push like that work, but we saw Socke shut it down quite comfortably.
He really did. I mean, one of the most instrumental things I think there was also just the photon cannons.
Yeah.
3 photon cannons helped out tremendously, and we see he's rebuilding 2 of those as well, not just to stop drops, but also to support any like run-bys trying to get into that Nexus area. From here on out, how is Socke going to play? He's already got the Templar with the Psystorm. He's already got great upgrades, and he's just going to continue to crank those out. And now he's adding Colossi. Double robotics are finished. But over at the top, a double drop by Thorzain. Only a single cannon there. They're going to turn on the Afterburners, and that cannon will go down extremely fast.
Lots of Marines and Marauders dropping here. Templar Archives might be a bit vulnerable. Also a Forge close by as well. Zealot's going to be warped in here from Socke. No Mothership recall. Mothership Core recall. Actually, the Mothership Core is being rebuilt, so it must have been killed in that last engagement. Thorzain can easily just lift up and get out of there if he wants, but choosing to remain. The Charge Blast going to slice and dice these Marauders. Medevac going to try to ignite Afterburn in there and get out of there, and that's exactly what he does. Very fancy play there from Thorzain. Taking down some probes. Let's look at stuff really quick. 8 workers killed. Income tab is 70 to 63.
That was a very cost-efficient exchange, though, for Thorzain. I mean, he lost 1 medevac full, guys, but he killed 4 to 5 Zealots, a couple probes. I think he got 4 or 5 Stalkers there as well. Great usage of the Ignite Afterburner's ability to get in fast, to get out fast, focusing down those Stalkers first so they couldn't focus down the medevac. And he's getting more use out of this too, coming around to defend his own 3rd base as well. These Zealots would have been a nightmare without the units very at the right place at the right time to deal with it.
Socke able to get that pylon down at the top left-hand side of the map. If Thorzain doesn't identify that relatively soon, that could be very annoying throughout that game, because Socke can just simply warp in a few Zealots every minute even, and just continue to harass that 3rd base. So we'll keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, we're seeing double Colossi production here from Socke, continuing with the upgrades. +2 ground weapons on the way, +3 ground armor on the way, 2-2 just about to finish here from Thorzain. So once that is done, he will have a slight upgrade advantage for a little bit. We'll have to see if he can take advantage. Looks like Socke is positioning himself to take a 3rd base. I love the direction he's going here. Has High Templars on the field, has Storm available, going straight into that Colossi production. I just wonder, when is he going to feel confident to push across the map and potentially be aggressive?
I think he's going to wait for between 4 or maybe even 6 Colossi, most likely 4. Thorzain only a single starport with the reactor on it, and no Vikings out in the field yet.
Oh my god.
Oh, the factory though. It's rolling in. It's rolling into the robotics facilities. This is so good for Thorzain. Immediately building that 2nd starport.
He's going to see the Colossi pop
He is. I mean, he knows exactly what's going on here. I wouldn't be surprised if he built a 3rd starport. I guess he can't quite afford it gas-wise right now. But
I mean, this is great and all, but like, this is kind of like with the Reaper. You're scouting something, but what can you really do about this? I mean, sure, he's going to be able to get this starport out, but I still feel like Socke is going to have a comfortable advantage in this game.
I mean, Socke definitely has advantage. I mean, in a macro game like this, Terran wants to be ahead in supply of Protoss. Thorzain's down by 20, of course. It's much later 3rd. It's really showing there. But Thorzain has a chance to defend this now. If 4 Colossi showed up at his base and he had 0 Vikings, it's instant game over.
So it's the difference between having a great defense and just the game ending.
Exactly. And look what Thorzain's doing. He's biting it up. Missile turrets all along the right side of his main. Does not want to have any warp and harassments to make sure he can focus the battle in a single point, because that's exactly what Terran wants to do.
There's a great area here for Vikings to be able to take down some Colossi. We'll have to see if Thorzain can take advantage. But Socke coming forward, targeting down a command center. Lots of buildings getting in the way here from Socke, spreading out his units a little bit. Thorzain trying to retreat behind these bunkers, has to have money EMPs. The Colossi extending forward. A hallucinated Colossus in here, and that's the Colossus that Thorzain was targeting down. He's going to scan, he's going to spot the hallucinate, but a lot of SCVs dying. 3rd base going to be taken down. Socke has to be happy with this engagement. They're going to try to surge forward even more. Charge lots extending forward as well. Great EMPs here from Thorzain, but is it going to be enough to take out this army?
I don't know. The Zealots are melted. There's still 3 Colossi left.
Templar.
Oh, no!
They're getting sniped! Socke getting his High Templar sniped. They had full energy. Could have stormed it on a ridiculous amount of damage there. Thorzain, great reaction there. Sniping those incredibly fast. And now Thorzain's on the pursuit, but just as I say that, backing away, and Socke.
Very smart.
I think Socke's going to have to wait for some more high Templar.
He is, but he's done so much damage to Thorzain. I mean, he took out one command center that was over there. Second one almost died. A lot of workers fell there. Thorzain holds on though, and you know, as the game progresses, he's gonna be happier and happier and happier because his ghost count is gonna increase. Now he'll be able to build the Vikings to counter the Colossi, and you know, if you let Thorzain kind of slowly build up this army, he's extremely efficient with it in the late game.
Got a drop going down to the bottom right-hand location. Socke warping in some Zealots though. High Templar as well immediately feedback that medevac. He's going to die incredibly fast. Marines Marauders trying to cut away, but here comes the main army of Socke to deal with that. And you said it. Thorzain's getting that composition he wants. Already 11 ghosts on the field, 8 Vikings. And this is kind of a situation where it kind of reminds me of like Infestor Broodlord, where it's high-techy stuff, but as long as you can get a lot out, you can be super cost-efficient, and you can deal with a lot of armies from your opponent. It's going to come down to control here. We both know Thorzain has remarkable control that was honestly displayed by the sniping of those 2 High Templar a little bit earlier, but Socke at the same time has such a great advantage here. A lot of Colossi, a lot of High Templar. It's still going to be a very tough challenge for Thorzain, but the good news is he's not out of the game. He has those Vikings. He has those Ghosts. Tools are in place for Thorzain to come back here.
They are. I mean, Thorzain's got a lot of tools, but Socke, I mean, he's got 6 Colossi, tons of Blink Stalkers, plenty of High Templar with a lot of energy. He's got 4 bases to 3, which is exactly what the Protoss wants to be at in the situation. Well, I mean, you always want to be up in bases, of course,
sure.
But Thorzain, though, countering at the bottom right. Another drop from here. He's focusing on that pylon. Once that goes down, there'll be no more warp-ins.
Yeah, great job here from Thorzain, but he has to be able to deal with this army. Does he have enough Vikings on the field? He's up to 11. There's so many Stalkers on the ground here. Thorzain trying to set up some buildings here to at least distract his opponent. There's 1 bunker here. 2 SCVs afraid for the life. Socke coming forward here with the Colossi, Stalkers, Zealots, and Archons. EMPs being laid down here from Thorzain, trying to target down the Colossi with his Vikings, backing away the bio to try to run away from those beams of fire from the Colossus. And now Thorzain turning around with the Marauders, laying down the EMPs, and look at this. Socke forced to run away. Great engagement there from Thorzain.
That's exactly what Thorzain wanted Socke to commit to a single battle. You know, you can't do this against Terran in the late game. In a single battle, the units are going to be more cost efficient than you. Socke has been trying to spread it out, but Thorzain refuses to expand. He just says, you know what, I'll stay in a tight formation, where if you want to prevent me from getting to max food, you're going to have to do it by fighting my army. And if you fight Thorzain's late game army, that is not a fight that's going to go well for you.
Now Socke is forced to rebuild a bunch of high-techy stuff, and believe it or not, his resources aren't incredible right now. Sending a lot of probes to the space at the bottom right. Has got some probe casualties there. Of course, 30 workers killed to 13. Income is 64 to 51. Still in favor of Socke, but you got to remember, Thorzain has those mules. He's going to peel off a medevac here, full of Marines and Marauders. Going to try to do some aggression in his opponent's main base, setting up his 4th base in the middle of the map. Will on his way. In fact, is he ahead now?
I would have to say Thorzain's ahead. I mean, the food counts are equal. As soon as this planetary gets up to 4th base, that last battle was what Thorzain was waiting for. He says, as soon as I win a battle, I can take another base. And that's what he does. He wins a battle. He doesn't try to go for a kill. He just takes another base. It's like an anaconda choking around the map. Drop here in the main is going to do some damage. I don't think it'll do an enormous amount. Socke has plenty of weapons to deal with it.
Wait, he's just now researching Storm.
Did he not have Storm before?
I don't think he had Storm. Oh my gosh.
That was a significant oversight on Socke's part. I mean,
you gotta have Storm.
Yeah, you got to. I think he just assumed he had gotten it earlier and then probably found out that he didn't right there.
He's actually having a little bit of trouble with these pesky Marauders.
Okay, there they go down.
There they go. Slicing and dicing from the Zealots.
Some cool death animations now
absolutely.
In Heart of the Swarm. Thorzain, though, I mean, this is the point where he's getting Cloak, and he's getting level 3 Viking attacks. Now, ideally, he would want to have a lot more orbitals to do this technique, but he can still do it with 3 orbitals. This is the point where what you do is you just run around with Vikings, you scan, you kill observers, and then your ghost will kill everything, right? That's kind of the general strategy. On the Protoss side, we can see Socke. He's very familiar with this Thorzain late game technique. In the middle, already setting up some photon cannons to really help him with his detection.
All right, Socke advancing to the top here with those Stalkers, Zealots, and Colossi. High Templars moving up there as well. There's a scan from Thorzain, going to spot those High Templars And both these players playing very cautiously at this point, not wanting to make any supreme commitments. Another drop here in the main base from Thorzain, taking down a couple pylons. One Zealot, not going to be enough to take on those units. But some of his buddies are returning here to help deal with that. The factory is actually distracting the Stalkers as well. Thorzain being very cost efficient with these drops, at least pulling his opponent's units backwards. Meanwhile, both these players just setting up shop on their side of the map, not really willing to go for any major engagement.
It feels like Socke has learned his lesson from the last engagement. Do not fight Thorzain in a straight-on battle. And Thorzain, of course, is happy to make the game go longer and longer and longer. He can invest his money into more orbital command centers. He can continue his drop harassment. And he's still playing catch-up base-wise. I mean, Socke is still a base ahead of him with that central base just taken. So Thorzain's in no pressure to start trading units when he has a weaker economy.
Upgrades are pretty even here. 3-3 from Thorzain, 3-3 from Socke. We have another drop here in the main base. Thorzain relentless with these, really testing Socke's multitasking ability, testing his ability to spread out his army cost efficiently. Another drop heading into the bottom right-hand expansion. Stalkers and Zealots coming forward to deal with this. And Thorzain, he's just relying on these medivacs for now, just trying to take little jabs at his opponent's economy over and over again. And if this threat of dropping is always there, imagine how much weaker Socke's army would potentially be in the middle of the map. So pretty cool play here from Thorzain.
It's definitely keeping Socke back at home. I mean, Socke is doing a really good job of really not taking any damage, and I think as far as units lost, it's probably roughly equal, the drop units versus the amount of Zealots and Pylons that are going down. What it is doing is just buying Thorzain time, and the later the game goes on, the more it favors him in Wings of Liberty theory. However, Socke's got an ace up his sleeve. He said, you know what? Now I've got my 5 bases. I'm starting to stabilize. I've been maxed for some time. It's time to start transitioning. Double Stargates going down. Second Cybernetics Core going down.
What are we going to see, Mr. Axslav?
I actually have no idea.
Tempest is an interesting prediction I'll make.
I think
there's a Fleeping, so it might even be...
Well, you need to Fleeping for Tempest. I mean, it would have to be Tempest. I don't see... Marines will chop up Phoenixes or Oracles or Voider. I mean, Ghost would as well, right? So any of those short-range units wouldn't really make it close to Marines or Ghosts. I mean, in fact, Carriers would just get chopped up by Marines as well. The Interceptors would evaporate. So I think it will be the Tempest. And the idea here is Socke can set up a concave, right? And then keep trying to lure the Terran army into it by poking it with Tempest. I mean, they may not do a lot of damage per shot, but you can pick off Medivacs, you can pick off Ghosts, and the damage will add up if you can...
Vikings, too, I think is an important... is going to be an important unit here. If the Tempest can do a lot of damage to the Vikings, where when a major engagement happens, there are not going to be that many to deal with the Colossus, then all of a sudden the Colossi are going to just do damage absolutely everywhere. So that should be interesting to watch over. Also, Ghosts...
Couple Brave Cells here.
Ghosts to get into position to lay down EMPs, they have to kind of stray away from the pack. So Tempest potentially taking down those as well is instrumental. And also Socke, he added a lot of observers recently. So that's going to be another nice tool to really be able to spot where his opponent is going. But look at this, 2 Ravens in production here from Thorzain.
Oh, and Ravens in Heart of the Swarm are insanely powerful. Of course, Hunter Seeker Missile now outranges feedback. So if you get a nice Raven Cloud, you can harass your opponent well. The point defense drones deny any Tempest shots from doing any damage. Ravens are the ultimate answer to the Tempest, and actually to a lesser degree, if you get up a nice cloud of them, I think they pretty much answer everything. But Socke has got a larger chunk of the map. What Socke's been doing, it looks like he's been sitting back, just kind of taking beatings from Thorzain. But while he's been deflecting the drops and defending, he's now establishing a 6 o'clock base. And notice how he's got cannons spread out, where a single nuke can't take out that many, but there'll always be 1 or 2 to help with detection.
I like how you talk about nukes so casually. Oh, the whole single nuke. Where a nuclear missile will potentially destroy everything.
Oh, Thorzain, though, does not want to let Socke get to 6 o'clock. He's taking moves. Storms pushing back.
Defensive Storms there. Tempests are going to start getting involved here. But yeah, guys, we're approaching the 32-minute mark of this epic best of 5, or this epic game 2 of this best of 5. Winner goes to Dallas. Tell your friends this is going on. Get on Team Liquid. Get on Reddit. Get people in here. We got 3 nukes in production. I don't want anyone missing this. We got Tempests on the field. A premier PvT in Heart of the Swarm we have on our hands between Evil Geniuses, Thorzain, again, alternate attacks, Socke. Both these players setting up positions here.
You know, I'm really interested to see, I mean, there's so many parts of Thorzain's army, right? He's got the Ghosts, the Ravens, the Vikings, the Medivacs, and the Ravens are the extra element that we didn't always see in Wings of Liberty. That's going to just be that. They can be so powerful, but he's got to, the control of them is so critical. They're not super easy units to utilize.
Nice, decent storm there from Socke, trying to zone out the units from his opponent. There goes.
Oh, there comes the first nuke. And this is what Thorzain's going to do, slowly get ground by launching nukes. The Tempest, are they going to try to snipe the Ghosts?
At the same time, we have a drop at the bottom right-hand side of the map. Socke going to pull his army away. The cannons will fall. The pylon losing some of that shield, all the shield and some of that HP. So Socke definitely knows that those nukes are now in effect, and he's honestly really worried about that, having trouble dealing with this drop at the bottom right. And Thorzain is actually getting a lot of damage done with these drops, already up to 48 workers killed. His opponent down to 32 harvesters. At this point in the game, though, it's the units that are going to be important. The Tempest coming forward here, taking down a Ghost already.
Taking down a couple of Ghosts there. Thorzain a little bit slow on noticing that Observer there. Not too bad, though. I mean, a couple of Ghosts are down, but he's got the money to rebuild them. Oh, look at this. At the top of the map,
my gosh.
A double nuke. This will knock out so much of the production structures that shield upgrade is going to be canceled.
He's also nuking in his main base.
He's nuking across the ridge. Down at the 6 o'clock base. He's nuking.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he was hoping to be a probe transfer.
Yeah, the probes were seen there. They saw the red dot. They're going to back away.
There's more nukes in the main, though. They're going down everywhere, trying to dismantle Socke's unit production capabilities.
Oh, these Stalkers are going to be toast very soon. There's an Observer going to fall. And the Observer was all that was there to detect the Ghost, and now the Ghost can be able to take down these Stalkers. Socke having such a tough time dealing with this multi-pronged nuke harassment. Yes, I said it. From Thorzain, also sending down a couple Marauders and a Marine to this bottom right-hand location. Socke getting spread out absolutely everywhere. 2 nukes going to be dropped here. And Socke is in a position where he's going to lose his entire main. He's having such a hard time dealing with this brilliant play from Thorzain, dropping these Ghosts.
Yeah, it's just too much, too many different places. Socke doesn't have the units. Another nuke being launched at the 6 o'clock location, trying to push those probes around. Socke is, you know, I think his strategy is just to withstand it. And he says, if I can take more than half the map, right? Socke's play here is going to be deny Thorzain from taking 12 o'clock and hold the 6 o'clock. And then he says, I'll absorb some damage, but I'll Yule mine out. Dropping mules is mines up minerals very, very fast. And eventually you'll be starved out.
Socke, again, having so much trouble dealing with this Ghost in his main base. Dropped about 4 nukes. Up to this point, taking down that main base Nexus. Meanwhile, Thorzain looks like he wants to be aggressive to this bottom middle location. Socke getting into position. The Tempest taking some shots at those Ghosts, but there's the point defense drone from the Raven, absorbing those shots. The Stalker's going to blink forward. Decent storm there onto the Bio Army. Thorzain's going to back away for now. It looks like Socke is trying to be cost efficient with these Tempests, but again, the point defense drones not going to let that happen.
Oh, you know those point defense drones are used up now. The Archons took them out. And that was a lot of energy Thorzain used. Meanwhile, the 12 o'clock being denied by a pair of Zealots. More nukes going down.
Oh, he's not going to get the Ghost. Oh, he does get the Ghost.
Just in a nick of time.
Wow.
Thorzain barely saves the 12 o'clock planetary. Or does he? It's burning down. It's burning down. Oh, it's got a while to burn. There's no. Oh, Stalker's coming to finish the job.
And there's the liftoff, but that command center is going to fall, and Thorzain's not going to be able to secure that top-hand location. He's going to take advantage, though. He saw his opponent's entire army advance to the north side. He's going to lay down a defensive nuke, but here comes a couple of High Templar looking for those storms. Thorzain retreating immediately, but the Ghost is still alive. That's placing down the nuke. Socke, does he see this dot? He might lose the Tempest here.
Oh,
no, he's going to see it.
Just barely back away in time. He is using cannons, though.
He is.
Oh, this Ghost forgot to quote.
Oh, but there's the point defense drone is going to protect that Ghost for now. The nuke might actually fall. There goes the Hunter Seeker missiles onto the Colossi and the Archon. They're going to retreat, but nice little explosion there. There's a nuke taking down a couple Stalkers and an Archon. And Socke is slowly getting picked apart here by Thorzain, trying to deal with this nuclear missile style. You know, with the point defense drones mixed in. More EMPs going down here. Thorzain might be looking for a convincing engagement. The Viking's going to be surging forward. More point defense drones going down. Marines Marauders stimming from Thorzain. Socke getting lower and lower in supply, down to 144. Viking's going to absorb some of that storm, but Socke is running out of real estate.
He really is. I mean, the combination of point defense drones, great use of EMP and snipe to mitigate storm. Great storm there on the Vikings, but he needs a couple more to follow that up, and he's losing ground to these nukes. Another observer going down here. I mean, this is just such a tough position for Socke. It's Thorzain's really using the Ghost abilities to mitigate those High Templar, and High Templar they're the Protoss unit. It's like the High Templar determine who wins the battle, right? If you get really good storms off, you're going to win as Protoss. If the Terran prevents you from doing that, you're not going to win. So it's an amazing job by Thorzain on really zoning the Ghosts out, sniping observers, maintaining his distance from potential storm locations.
Oracle coming forward. Oh, look at that.
Oh, beautiful play. This is what I've been waiting for. Thorzain's done a great job of sniping observers, but you put Revelation on the units, and you can keep track of them no matter what.
Great move there from Socke, pulling out that late game Oracle. We'll have to see how this works out for him. Going to extend forward just a little bit. The Tempest not able to get any damage down. High Templar is going to be dropped down here, throwing down some storms underneath the Vikings. Lots of that bio army. Blue crowns all over this army from Thorzain, showing that Socke can in fact see everything. Socke, though, just because you can see it doesn't mean you can defend it. Thorzain continuing to surge forward here. One storm going down. Tempest trying to do some damage to these Vikings. Stalkers heroically trying to hold, but they're going to fall to the Marauders. Thorzain up 198 to 90 supply. Socke running lower and lower on that supply, losing that Nexus in the middle of the map, and I think this might be it for the German Protoss, and there is the GG. What a fantastic game number 2 there from both players. I would attempt to summarize that in a sentence, but I really can't. It's just Thorzain being very patient. Remember how far back he fell in the beginning of that game. Of course, it all started when Socke went for that very fast third. Thorzain tried to be aggressive, but realized, oh wait, Mothership Core is pretty good. Time Warp, Photon Overcharge. I can't really get past that. And then he had to back up, wait for Socke to make a mistake, which it seemed like Socke did, engaging without Storm, engaging in a small choke, and Thorzain just able to micro that battle perfectly with the Vikings and Ghosts, and able to get that engagement that he needed to be able to secure the middle of the map there, and then, of course, incorporating those nukes later on in the game, which was instrumental as far as how much stuff was actually destroyed in Socke's main.
Beautiful game by Thorzain there. It really looked like Socke realizes Thorzain's late game is almost untouchable, especially Terran versus Protoss. That's his strongest late game. And I mean, the reason why I think he was taking those engagements early is because he knew he had an advantage. But that advantage goes away if you can't damage your opponent, because they'll eventually build up, and you can't get more into your food. So he was trying to end Thorzain early, and he almost did. He was so close to breaking him at that third base. He was so close to breaking him, but then you couldn't. The game went long, and he still had a small advantage, but it's Thorzain's late game, man. That's all needs to be said.
It's so tough on Daybreak, too, if you're trying to end your Terran opponent who's on 3 bases. We saw Thorzain putting down some buildings to kind of distract the Colossus shots. I wonder if Socke had utilized a War Prism maybe a little bit more in the main base, maybe in the third, while attacking into the natural, if that might have been a better way.
15 missile turrets.
Oh, there were? Okay, I didn't see those. Thorzain has every base covered. He knew exactly what he had to do once he had that deficit, but able to come back and convert into victory. Awesome nuclear missiles throughout that game. Of course, we saw plenty of Heart of the Swarm units as well. If you're just now joining us and missed that game, don't worry. It'll be available very soon at our YouTube channel in 1080p HD. YouTube.com/officialMLGSC2. That's one you're going to want to rewatch as well. Guys, you're watching a best of 5 between Thorzain and Socke. Thorzain is 1 win away from getting that spot in Dallas. We'll have to see if he can do it in the next game. Game 3 coming up.